Thank you for making News Channel 5 #1 at 5 p.m.
I'm Thalia Ashuris. Looking for the gasoline tipping point. How high do prices at the pump have to go before they start eating into summer fun? How's this for a super low airfare? Just $10 a seat with a few little catches. Premium prices for insurance in Florida's hurricane strike zone. Meet the people who have decided to do without coverage. And on this Memorial Day weekend, homespun tributes to loved ones lost in the line of duty.
This is the CBS Evening News with Thalia Ashuris.
Good evening, everyone. The holiday weekend is underway, and so is the driving, a very costly prospect this year. This weekend, the average price of a gallon of gasoline is just over $3.21. Now, that means total estimated spending on gas will top off at just under $4 billion over the 3 days. And with gas prices at or near record highs, people in one line of work are already feeling the pinch. Randall Pinkston has the scoop.
The drivers who bring one of summer's sweetest sounds to the streets are turning sour because the skyrocketing price of gasoline is melting their profits.
We're still trying to make a living, but it is getting harder.
At more than $3 a gallon for both gas and diesel, it now costs $100 a day to keep a Mr. Softy ice cream truck on the road.
What's the tipping point for your whole business dynamics to change?
Another 25 cents, another dollar. You know, again, at that point, we do have to increase our prices, just like every other business.
Gas prices are forcing hard choices on Mr. Softy operators and everyone else. Since 2002, the average annual household grocery bill is up $200, but gasoline costs are up more than $1,000. So are Americans finally at a tipping point where they begin to drive less?
There does seem to be a really surprising lack of change in people's driving habits, given how much the prices increased since 2000.
In fact, a new poll finds 6 out of 10 drivers say it would take gas rising to $3.75 a gallon to change their vacation plans. Economists tell us it would take at least $5 a gallon before Americans would make bigger changes, where they live and work or what they drive.
Well, I'm not going to run out and buy a new car just because the gasoline price went up in May. I have to see that I think the gasoline price is never coming down.
One thing that may be going up is the price of ice cream, where even a 25-cent increase can eat into demand.
A quarter doesn't sound like a lot, but if you multiply it over 5 family members, they'll have to make a choice. People have to make hard choices today.
One choice many consumers are making is to shop less. The National Retail Federation says Americans are making fewer trips to the shopping mall. And Walmart says the high cost of fuel is taking an average of $7 a week out of the wallets of its customers.
Randall Pinkston, thanks so much. Well, almost 4.5 million travelers are leaving their cars behind this weekend in favor of airplanes. Bargain hunters now have a new option if they're willing to hop on a bus. Joey Chen reports on No Frills Airbus travel.
How are you today?
For most of us, flying already feels like a bus in the sky. At least now, an airline admits it. Skybus Airlines launched its first flights this week, promising super cheap seats on brand new aircraft. The hook, 10 $10 seats on every flight, forever. The carrier insists it's not just a promotion. Skybus flies to smaller airports on both coasts, like Burbank, California, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Portsmouth, New Hampshire, near Boston. And every flight starts or ends in Columbus, Ohio.
I'm flying to Columbus, renting a car, and driving to Cleveland and saving $1,000. Is that worth it? Yes.
Those really cheap seats can be hard to find. When we tried, the first $10 ticket from Portsmouth to Columbus wasn't even available until October 10th. From the Bay Area to Ohio, nothing less than $50 between now and Thanksgiving. Still, $50 is pretty cheap. All reservations are made online. There's no phone number to call for help. Inconvenient? Yeah, but Skybus bets that you'll put up with it for the low fares.
We're tapping into a market that simply stayed at home. So if you want to know who is the Skybus competition, Skybus competition is the couch and the car and the bus.
Following the lead of European super discounter Ryanair, Skybus will try anything to make money. You'll see one difference if you get to the airport less than 30 minutes before takeoff. The counter will be empty because the people who work here also have to help board the plane. It's for rent as a flying billboard. And by the way, you can't bring your own food on board. The flight attendants, though, will happily sell it to you. They get a commission.
It's kind of like going into a movie where you have to buy their popcorn and their Cokes and stuff like that. Whether that's going to be enough to make that a success in the United States, I don't know.
Expect big-name carriers to watch the new entries take off carefully as they decide whether to play catch-up in the super low fare game or risk missing the bus. Joey Chen, CBS News, Richmond, Virginia.
And travel could be affected this holiday weekend by violent thunderstorms across the Midwest and the southern plains. Storms and flooding this week left at least 5 people dead in central Texas. A 6th person is still missing. The U.S. military today reported the deaths in Iraq of 8 U.S. troops, including 1 Marine. 101 Americans have died there this month, putting May on course to become the deadliest month this year. Meanwhile, the New York Times is reporting the Bush administration is considering a significant reduction of combat forces there next year. Mark Strassman has more from Baghdad.
Thousands more U.S. troops now head into Iraq's killing fields. But that surge could be slammed into reverse, according to today's report. The White House is now said to be talking about slashing its combat presence in Iraq from roughly 150,000 soldiers to 100,000 soldiers. Tens of thousands of U.S. troops could go home next year during the 2008 presidential campaign. It's a discussion that acknowledges a deepening Republican concern. A CBS News poll out this week showed 76% of Americans think the war in Iraq is going badly.
The White House is thinking about this over the longer term. They'd love it to be possible for 2008. They will talk as if it's at least a remote possibility for 2008, but they don't really think they can do this.
If those U.S. troops left anytime soon, Iraq's mayhem could worsen and quickly. Recently, even the commander of Iraq's ground forces said, through his interpreter, his troops just aren't ready.
فضمن هذه المرحلة احنا نحتاج القطاعات متعددة الجنسيات بالعراق.
In this era and this time, we need the help and the support of the coalition forces.
The surge's goal? Give Iraq's government time to tackle tough issues. But they've made little progress. And Iraq's looking at a bloody summer, which President Bush acknowledged this week.
We're going to expect heavy fighting in the weeks and months. We can expect more American and Iraqi casualties.
The White House today played down the report of major troop cuts. But even talk about it now suggests there's been no surge in U.S. confidence Iraq's crisis will improve anytime soon. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Baghdad.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, gambling with nature, doing without insurance in Florida's hurricane zone.
The best in German engineering. Braun 360 Complete, the world's first electric shaver with the expertise of Gillette blade technology. For Braun's closest, most comfortable shave ever, it even cleans and renews itself. Braun, precision, control, perfection.
We have Medicare supplement insurance because, well, there are gaps in your Medicare coverage that Medicare supplement insurance will
Supplement?
It's exactly what it does.
Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company. Insure life. Begin today.
It says here that stress can weaken our immune system.
And about 70% of our immune system is in our digestive tract.
Right. Apparently, a culture called LKCI Immunitas can help. It's clinically proven to help strengthen your body's defense system.
Only Dan Active has LKCI Immunitas.
We should try this Dan Active.
New Dan Active helps strengthen your body's defenses.
They say you are what you eat. Put a plant in topsoil, you get a starving plant. Because ordinary topsoil has little, if any, nutrition. Now put a plant in Miracle-Gro garden soil. Wow. Rich, organic ingredients. Plus Miracle-Gro continuous release plant food. Nourishes nonstop for up to 3 months. Plants grow twice as big you get twice the compliments. That's nice. Miracle Grow Garden Soil. Make your own miracles.
Wouldn't you know it? One moment we're on the road to romance, when suddenly it gets interrupted. That's why for guys like me with ED, there's Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to both go to work fast in as little as 30 minutes for some men and work up to 36 hours. The fact that Cialis can work fast is great, but having up to 36 hours gives me the option of being ready once the moment is finally right.
Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and all medications and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience priapism, an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away.
Why ask your doctor about Cialis? Because even after an interruption, you can still be ready.
When the moment is right, you can be ready with Cialis.
Smart Balance Buttery Spread. See if you agree with us that Smart Balance cooks like butter and tastes like butter without the cholesterol and high saturated fat, with no hydrogenated oil and no trans fat naturally, not artificially as some spreads. Smart Balance has the right balance of fats to help improve cholesterol as part of the Smart Balance food plan, with award-winning taste endorsed by professional chefs. Smart Balance. You're going to love that buttery taste.
What's it like to serve in Iraq with a family member at your side? It happens more often than you might think. A special edition of 60 Minutes tomorrow.
Weather forecasters are predicting a very active hurricane season, which begins in less than a week. In Florida's Hurricane Alley, residents are bracing themselves as usual. But with insurance rates soaring through the roof, some are making a risky choice. Kelly Kobiella explains.
Lee Petrandis isn't just building a restaurant on Florida's Gulf Coast. He's building a fortress.
It's all precast concrete. It's made to withstand about 150-mile-an-hour winds.
In 2005, Hurricane Dennis washed away the family restaurant. When his uncle, the owner, learned insurance on the new place would cost $180,000 a year, he decided to spend $1 million on extra concrete.
He's not getting any insurance.
He's not going to pay the insurance premium and not going to get it.
So was $180,000 a year the lowest you could get?
That was it, and I think we could only get one quote.
It's not just the Petrandis family. Hundreds of thousands of people are dealing with either skyrocketing premiums or seeing their coverage dropped altogether. So more Floridians than ever are turning to the state for insurance.
Good morning, Citizens.
Citizens Property Insurance was created by Florida to be an insurer of last resort. But in just 5 years, it's become the biggest insurer in the state, with more than 1 million policyholders and $432 billion in risk exposure.
Yes.
New changes just approved by the state legislature will allow even more people to join, offering rates that by state law must be at least 15% lower than private insurance.
We're doing it in a way that protects the people, that puts competition back into the system, and says to this private insurance industry that's been taking advantage of our people here in Florida, enough is enough.
But the state didn't have the money to pay out claims after the 2005 hurricane season and had to issue bonds to cover a $1.5 billion shortfall. Private insurers warn a catastrophic storm this year could easily wipe out Citizens, Florida's Treasury, and force the federal government to pick up the tab.
The gap between what it will need and what it is collecting now is as great as it's ever been.
Florida state law requires private insurers to have $3 on hand for every dollar's worth of property it insures. But that guideline does not apply to Citizens, which has just 2 cents on hand for a dollar's worth of insured property.
There will be a day of reckoning down the road.
But Lee Petrandis isn't buying any of it. He's also passing on insurance for his home, just a few hundred yards down the shoreline.
And if something does happen?
I'll take care of it myself.
With the potential for a busy hurricane season ahead, there's a chance he may have to. Kelly Kobiella, CBS News, Panacea, Florida.
We have an update on those 2 whales stranded 70 miles up California's Sacramento River. Rescuers plan to just leave them be this weekend. Yesterday's attempt to coax the whales back toward the Pacific by spraying them with a fire hose didn't work. A whole fleet of fireboats will try again next week. Just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the new math, when close enough is close enough.
Cholesterol. It can come from that cherry pie, but also from your granddad's sigh. From beef off the grill and your grandmother, Jill. A healthy diet is important. When that's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Cholesterol comes from two sources, food and family. Vytorin treats two sources. Only Vytorin helps block the absorption of cholesterol from food and reduces the cholesterol your body makes naturally. Vytorin was also proven in clinical studies to lower bad cholesterol more than Lipitor alone, more than Crestor alone. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Tell your doctor right away about unexplained muscle pain or weakness, which may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Certain medicines or foods may increase your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. So eat right, stay active, but if that's not enough, ask your doctor about adding Vytorin, two sources of cholesterol. Treat them both with Vytorin.
Are you easily distracted? Avoiding others? Is it affecting your home life? You may be a numismatist, a collector of coins. But now there's a cure. Genuine United States Mint coins. Brilliant, pristine, therapeutic. These coin sets may cause euphoria, insomnia, and are extremely habit-forming. If you're a numismatist, now there's hope for you. Visit usmint.gov. United States Mint. Genuinely worthwhile.
If only everything worked together to help take care of you.
Just a little bit lower. Oh, perfect.
Fortunately, Walgreens offers many convenient services designed with your well-being in mind. Ask your pharmacist for details.
Now you can feel dry and confident, even when nobody else does. Introducing new Secret Clinical Strength. Get prescription strength wetness protection without a prescription. So effective, it stops wetness better than the leading invisible solid. Now you can start living life instead of sweating it. Secret, strong, like a woman.
Senators Carl Levin and Jeff Sessions debate the war in Iraq and new immigration laws. Plus, CBS correspondent Kimberly Dozier on her recovery. Face the Nation Sunday.
Congress this summer will consider making changes to the No Child Left Behind law, which sets standards of classroom accountability. In collaboration with Time magazine, CBS News has been looking into competing ways of reaching those goals. One that is receiving intense scrutiny is a new and controversial way of teaching math. Sharon Alfonsi has more.
What did everybody use to figure that out? Because you weren't allowed to calculate the exact cost.
Remember when there was only one right answer to a math problem?
Estimating.
Not anymore.
What does estimating mean?
It's something like reasonably close.
Good, I like the word reasonable. It's reasonably close, he said.
And that is good enough here in Abington, Pennsylvania, where they're teaching reform math. Instead of endless memorization and multiplication tables, in this kind of math, reasonably close is good enough.
There's a time where you want to do mental arithmetic, where something, works much more quickly in your head. There's a time for paper and pencil computation, and there's also a time to use a calculator.
About a quarter of the nation's schools are now teaching reform math, but some parents say it's fuzzy math, and it's bringing down scores on tests mandated by the No Child Left Behind Act.
Okay, and what does this say?
Carol Rounds is trying to get her son's school to switch to a more traditional math program.
There are no numbers in this homework. It's just amazing for math homework.
4 is 8.
She says her son Emerson, a second grader in New Jersey, is just not getting the basics.
How much is that one?
I don't
know. It's okay. How do you get there?
So she's taken matters into her own hands and is teaching him the old-fashioned way.
Do kids get bored by drilling? Yes. Do they feel empowered by getting the knowledge that they ultimately gain from memorization? Yes, they get empowered.
Reform math isn't exactly new. It's been around for about 15 years. It was inspired by a group of educators to combat slumping math scores and sleeping students. But today, even some of those educators say some school districts have taken it too far. Still, Reform Math supporters say their studies show that their programs help kids score higher.
We're preparing kids now for jobs that we don't even know are going to exist, and we can't be teaching them the same mathematics that we did years and years ago. We really have to prepare them for the workforce that they'll be headed to.
Both sides are trying to give kids the tools they need for the future. The two sides just can't agree on the best way to solve the problem. Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, New York.
For more on this and other stories you've seen here tonight, you can go to our website, cbsnews.com. Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, homemade memorials for families who've lost loved ones in Iraq.
It says here that stress can weaken our immune system.
And about 70% of our immune system is in our digestive tract.
Right. Apparently, a culture called LKCI Immunitas can help. It's clinically proven to help strengthen your body's defense system.
Only Dan Active has LKCI Immunitas.
We should try this Dan Active.
New Dan Active helps strengthen your body's defenses.
Presenting Ortho Weed Be Gone Max. So revolutionary, it targets and kills the toughest weeds without harming your lawn. Ortho Weed Be Gone sprayed here, ordinary weed killer here. Only Ortho Weed Be Gone has a foaming action and weed targeting formula for total root kill. So it killed the weeds, but not the grass. The ordinary weed killer killed everything. Ortho Weed Be Gone Max. Kills weeds, not lawns. Guaranteed. Now available with new crabgrass control.
I have COPD with chronic bronchitis, which makes it hard to breathe. But now that I'm breathing better with Advair, I can cheer my grandson to victory.
For people with COPD with chronic bronchitis, great news. Advair helps significantly improve lung function. While nothing can reverse COPD, Advair is different from other medications because it's the only product with an anti-inflammatory and a bronchodilator working together to help you breathe better. Advair won't replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than twice a day. Lung infections, including pneumonia, have been reported with Advair. Taking Advair may increase your risk for osteoporosis and some eye problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking Advair, and ask about the risks and benefits of continuing Advair after 6 months.
Thanks for coming, Grandpa.
I wouldn't have missed it. Ask your doctor how Advair helps improve lung function for better breathing.
Find out how to get your first full prescription free at advaircopd.com. There might be more lead in your water than you think. Pure water filters are certified to remove 98% of lead.
Enjoy the foods you want with a tight seal from Fixident Control.
Saving each and every World War II vet's memories. How this filmmaker is trying to do it Monday. A Memorial Day tribute you must see on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
More than 3,400 American servicemen and women have lost their lives so far in Iraq. So as Memorial Day, the day when the nation honors its fallen, approaches, we turn tonight to some of their families. We found that many of them have put aside their grief and made something positive out of something so terrible. Their stories are tonight's Weekend Journal.
Hey!
Kathy Cratley and Doris Mercer have traveled some 600 miles to deliver memories to someone they are meeting for the first time.
This is what we've made.
Oh my goodness. Look, Trey.
Monica Clayton is a first lieutenant in the Army. She lost her husband Hayes in Iraq on Christmas Day. Son Trey was just 3 months old then.
I'm just speechless. This is real beautiful. Oh my goodness.
But that comes from the heart.
Death is no stranger to any of these women. Doris's son Joel died in Iraq in October of 2005. Kathy's son Billy was killed there 1 month later. Now she and the other Georgia Marine moms collect poems and photos and condolences for what they call memory books. They offer them to the families of the fallen, an expression of the painful bond they share.
She knows what I'm going through. And because she's been through it already. So for her to make these books, what better way to make it than for somebody who's already been through it?
Is it therapy for you?
Yes. In a manner of speaking, it is therapy.
All across the country, families of those killed in Iraq are searching for and finding different ways to make meaning out of loss. When Trevor Winne was killed, his family and many others raised more than $215,000 for Trevor's vest, a special cooling, bulletproof garment that helps against the Iraqi heat. Laura Williams and her two sons pack up books for soldiers overseas, each with a sticker inside honoring her oldest son, Dale, killed in Iraq in 2006. Operation Paperback shipped 14,928 books last month alone. And in Baghdad, there is now a clinic in honor of Sergeant Chris Golby and the medevac missions he performed. After Marine Joey Tremblay died in Iraq, his father Larry searched for a permanent way to commemorate him and his fallen comrades, one that would also remind others of their sacrifice.
No parent should lose their child. But as long as I draw a breath, I will be taking this bike wherever people want to hear me talk. And I will be paying honor to these kids and all kids in the future.
No one could miss this motorcycle, decorated with photos of Joey and Marine memorabilia.
This bike will never be sold. People ask me, how much is it worth? I ask them, how much is your son's life worth? There is no price on this bike.
So the memory of a son lives on, and another son, too young to remember his father, will one day start to build memories with a book that came from the heart.
When he comes of age and he's able to read it for himself and understand it, that's what's going to put the smile on my face for him to look through that book.
We'll be back.
It fuels our lives and creates the products we depend on. It powers our workforce. It brings us home and gives us warmth. It lets us travel the earth and reach for the sky. Vital for life, too precious to waste. Oil and natural gas. Together, let's use it wisely. Learn more at energytomorrow.org.
Need relief from constipation? Take Dulcolax and sleep on it. Dulcolax works during the night to give you gentle, effective relief of your constipation the next morning. Dulcolax has a special comfort coating that protects your stomach so it works right where it's needed for gentle overnight relief. Guaranteed. And you're back to your natural self in the morning. Dulcolax. Gentle, predictable relief.
Finally tonight on this Memorial Day weekend, Vice President Cheney was at West Point today to deliver the commencement address. The ceremony ended with the traditional toss of the caps into the air, all 978 of them. That's the CBS Evening News. Tomorrow on Sunday morning, actor Kevin Costner. Then on Face the Nation, the debates over the war and immigration. I'm Thalia Ashuras, CBS News in New York. Good night, everyone.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my
Where do you see yourself this summer? Get there at the Saturn Memorial Day sale. For 7 short days, get 0% financing for 60 months on select 07s like the Ion, View, and View Greenline Hybrid. Hurry, sale ends May 31st. See your local Saturn retailer today.
And when that water gets high, you're not going to win.
The memory of a tragic swimming accident reminds everyone about the importance of water safety this summer.
Also tonight, Nashville gets a big national attention for a brand new park. We'll tell you why.
And across Middle Tennessee, we're dry, but there's a lot of rain just off to our west. Will that be moving in anytime soon? I'll have your forecast. The news starts now.
From your news and information leader, Tennessee's first and only local news in high definition. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and we thank you for joining us tonight. You know, Friday marked the one-year anniversary of a tragic swimming